Sir, we are receiving a visual subspace transmission from the stolen shuttlecraft Thea.
On screen.
My dear Admiral, you've chased me round the moons of Nibia, round the Antares maelstrom, and round perdition's flames, and been burnt every step of the way. Perhaps you would prefer the colder dish of revenge. Pluto, 2100 hours. Your move.
That's a trap.
Well, until everyone gets here, I present to no one the next episode. Conspiracy. We start with Riker dropping his log. They are en route to the ocean world of Pacifica. Creative name. That's literally all the exposition he gives, too. Geordi tells Data a joke, and Data analyzes it like a computer before attempting to fake a laugh, which he abruptly and comedically abandons after noticing Geordi's disappointment. There's a moment when Troy pines to be in the vast, endless ocean, and that the holodeck just doesn't do it for her, asking Data if he's ever swam in the moonlight. To which Data responds, he didn't know you could swim in moonlight. And Worf thinks it all just sounds too much like a bath. It's really cheesy. Literally all of it. Just then, Data receives a code 47, and everyone's like, oh my god, is this for real? Captain's eyes only. They wake Picard and send the message through. Well, they say it's a message, but once again, despite this, Picard has a back-and-forth conversation with Captain Walker Keel, who's apparently an old friend. Something's up. Something they never thought could happen. But they can't talk here. Meet me at Ditalix B, fool. Right now. And you know it's serious because he won't say shit over a secure line. Well, either serious or another Starfleet officer is off his rocker. Walker says fuck Pacifica. Y'all don't even have a reason for going there. Don't trust anyone. I believe. X-Files. Opening titles. When we come back, Data exposits Ditalix B is an uninhabited world owned by the Ditalix mining operation in the Mirror system. Picard orders a diversion there, but won't tell the crew what's up. When they get there, there's already 3 Fed ships nearby, and Picard beams down alone to the mine below, where he's met by the business end of Phasers, care of Walker & Co. Picard is taken aback by the not-so-friendly greeting, and Walker demands to know where they first met, and other tests to know if it's really Picard. Besides Walker is Captain Ricks and Captain Scott. The short of it is, there's something up with the high command at Starfleet. A conspiracy, if you will. They don't even really know what's going on, but they're afraid. Walker says people are being changed somehow, altering them into completely different people, and he can't trust anyone but who's currently present. Back on the ship, they resume course to Pacifica, and Picard orders Data to scour all Starfleet command orders over the past 6 months. Actually, screw Pacifica. Worf found a random disturbance. What is it? They don't know, but anything sounds better than a ball of water named Pacifica. Arriving, they find Walker's ship, the Horatio, had just been completely destroyed. Walker's dead, and this impacts his old friend Picard and Crusher. But F that downer tone. Let's get some hijinks with Data, who's prattling on by himself, and even the computer tells him to shut up. He finds something odd in the orders, though, and goes to Picard in the observation room. Data says the highest levels of Starfleet had been going through a lot of odd reshuffling of personnel, all clandestinely, and speculates that there could be a conspiracy to take over Starfleet. Dun dun dun. Picard decides to go to Earth and demand some answers. And I know we jump into a lot of conclusions, but look, there's the moon. Arriving at Earth, Picard is hailed by a board of admirals, including Quinn. The other 2 are Savat and Aaron. The admirals cut the shit before it starts, wanting to know why Picard is even there, and not at Pacifica. And Picard says, come on, we all know we were never going to a fucking ball of water. Picard says he'll answer questions in person, when Remick comes into frame and whispers into Savat's ear, like worm tongue or some shit. Then they cut the feed saying BRB. Riker says that was normal enough. And really? 'Cause that was odd as fuck. Troy says someone's hiding something, but she doesn't know who or what, and god damn it, you're useless. Geordi and Worf seem to be the only ones that don't trust it at all. But hey, the admirals are back, and they'd be delighted to have Picard and Riker over for dinner. In 20 minutes. Remick is slaving over a replicator as we speak. Is it weird that they have dinner together? And that they invited Picard? Don't they have homes, wives, husbands, pool boys? I don't know. My point is they don't fucking live here, do they? Quinn says he wants to come back aboard and see the ship again instead, and I wouldn't trust that either, but screw it. San Fran matte painting. Oh snaps, Quinn has a pink space beetle, and he's going to the Enterprise with it. When he does, Picard notices how revitalized Quinn seems, but Quinn blows it off. He also blows off wanting to promote Picard and investigate a conspiracy in Starfleet back in the Coming of Age episode, because the writers changed their minds about this story and how long they were going to do it. Quinn tries to shoo them to dinner, and Picard smells a rat. He orders Riker to stay with Quinn, which Quinn rebuffs. Picard says, "Nah, mate, he's staying." Then, aside, tells Riker that Quinn isn't Quinn. Something is off, and to watch him, even telling Riker to find a way to trick Quinn into a med scan. Picard then beams down to Earth. Man, it feels weird saying that. He's greeted by the Admirals and Rimmick, before Picard notes how deserted the headquarters seems to be. Back with Riker, he enters Quinn's quarters and asks what's in the case.
What's in the fucking box?
Which Quinn says was for Crusher, but maybe he'd like to see it. Then exposits it's a form of life accidentally discovered by a survey team on an uncharted planet. Which one? Don't worry about it, guy. Quinn says it's a superior form of life and grabs Riker's wrist, squeezing it with crazy old man strength. Riker's eyes go wide, and it's hilarious. Quinn says this is what happens when you eat your vitamins and say your prayers, brother. There's a swing and a miss from Riker, and Quinn just tosses him across the room before showing us what the Terminator would have looked like played by a 70-year-old man. Roundhouse kick to the face. You know that was a stunt double. Riker throws another weak-ass punch and gets bitch-slapped over the table for it. Quinn's treating Riker like Riker burned dinner 3 times this week. Riker calls security and kicks Quinn, so Quinn goes full Tyson on his ass. Lights out, Will. I hope he didn't cut himself on that sugar glass table.
Proximity alert.
We're here. Let's start a fucking war.
Dog, I thought you weren't coming. You know we got your back, dog. Dog. What about the Ferengi? They said they aren't coming. No profit in it for them to risk war with the feds. I'm not here either, by the way. Who's even talking right now? Cloak up, boys. Let's do this. When we come back, Picard is offered tea as Rimmick excuses himself. They lift their glasses, but it's not Earl Grey, and it's not hot, and Picard snubs it. Okay, it's because the Admirals toasted the Horatio and told Picard it was deemed to have imploded due to the extreme negligence of its captain. And, okay, that's a pretty clever veiled threat. Go against us and we'll kill you and tarnish your legacy. And by the way, yes, we did that to your friend. Back with Quinn, Geordi and Worf run in and hold up, that's the security team? Whatever. Quinn says Riker slipped and hit his head, and Geordi calls for a med team. Quinn tries to leave, and when Geordi tries to stop him, Quinn ragdolls him through the damn doors. Quinn says, "Now, Klingon, it's between you and me." And Worf looks like a deer in headlights. It would have been better if he was more like a dog off a leash, but whatever. He does eventually growl and run up, hitting the geezer with the double axe handle maneuver. But Quinn no-sells the hits and bashes Worf down easier than Riker and tosses him too. But Crusher shows up and blasts the Admiral 3 times with her phaser. And I'm wondering to myself, why does a ship doctor carry a phaser on duty? Or at all? In sickbay, she further drugs the Admiral and finds a space beetle tail sticking out of his neck. Back down with Picard, dinner is served, but Picard wants to call for Riker, reaching Crusher as Riker is out cold. She tells Picard everything, including about the space beetle and its breathing tube-like tail in the host's neck. Then there's like a 5-second scene that's just a jump scare with Riker grabbing Crusher to a music sting and a quick cut. Anywho, the Admirals are getting impatient. Picard isn't listening to them wave off his conspiracy theory. They also apparently prepared maggots for dinner. Nothing but maggots. Oh, do eat up, Picard. Raise your hand if you want seconds. This is nightmare fuel, and everyone is just chowing down, so Picard just backs away slowly for the door, just to be met by Riker, who says Picard isn't going anywhere. Dun dun dun. Again. Riker says Picard will be one of us soon, and the Admirals check his neck. Captain Scott enters, revealing the traitor from the beginning, and the likely cause of the Horatio's demise. Riker pretends to eat, but
Gotcha, bitch!
he phasers some random guy filling out the room. Scott draws, but Picard tips her arm, and Riker shoots her too, causing her magenta dung beetle to flee. Sava attacks Riker, but Picard shoots him down, and they chase after Aaron, who would have gotten away with it if it weren't for being shot in both kidneys, and then both cheeks. The space bug flees, and our crew follows it to Rimmick, sitting in a chair in cartography like it's his throne. Also, the bug retreats into Rimmick's mouth. Yum. They blast his ass until his head freaking explodes. And bruh, they went all out on that. His uniform burns away, and we see a giant space queen, legally distinct, chest burst like worm, and they blast that too. So back with Picard for the wrap-up? He says everything's back to normal because the bugs couldn't survive without their queen, for some reason. Riker tells Picard, and us, that they faked the gill tail, and Data says Rimmick was sending messages to an unexplored sector of the galaxy. He believes it was a homing beacon, but I got a feeling in my gut we'll never hear from those guys. They probably got lost on the way and just invaded a universal house of pancakes instead. Roll credits. I don't know what to say. It was fun, and they tried to make something equal parts sci-fi, horror, and suspense, but it just came off super silly. Like Robo Old Dude and stop-motion Gumby worms looking like SETI Alpha 5 rejects. But definitely not the worst that Season 1 had to offer. Real time. Conspiracy, originally airing on May 9th, 1988, involved a plot by rogue Starfleet officers to seize control of the Federation, echoing earlier themes of paranoia, trust, and loyalty. The episode is notable for its dark tone, unsettling narrative, and infamous special effects sequence. However, Roddenberry was strongly opposed to the idea of internal corruption in Starfleet. He envisioned Starfleet as an idealistic institution free from the flaws of human nature. Despite his resistance, the episode continued, but was reworked into a more science fiction-driven narrative involving alien parasites infiltrating the highest levels of Starfleet command. The teleplay was developed from a story concept by Tracy Torme titled The Assassins, and was written by Torme and Robert Sabaroff, with Cliff Bole directing the episode. Bole, a veteran Trek director, would go on to direct 25 more Next Generation episodes, along with episodes for Deep Space Nine and Voyager. Patrick Stewart delivers a tense, nuanced performance as Picard grapples with his suspicion of corruption within the Federation. This episode also highlights Jonathan Frakes as Riker supports Picard's investigation into these troubling accusations. Ray Reinhardt played Admiral Aaron, Harry Darrow was Admiral Savar, and Ward Costello returned as Admiral Quinn. Their portrayals added layers of ambiguity, heightening the tension as the audience is left guessing who might be compromised by the alien threat. Robert Shankan, who plays the possessed Rimmick, delivers one of the most unsettling performances of the series, with an eerie and detached calmness. The episode explores themes revolving around authority and the idea that even institutions as noble as Starfleet are not immune to subversion. This theme was somewhat controversial for the Star Trek franchise, which generally depicted Starfleet as an idolized organization. The notion of infiltration by alien parasites touches on classic science fiction tropes, drawing comparisons to films like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The fear of parasitic control can also be read as a metaphor for the Cold War era anxieties over infiltration and subversion from within, a theme often revisited in science fiction during the 20th century. This episode also underscores Picard's leadership qualities, his willingness to challenge authority and trust his instincts, even when it could cost him his career. His friendship with Captain Walker Keel, who warns him of the conspiracy early in the episode, is a pivotal plot point. It's one of the rare moments where we see Picard's personal connections impacting his decision-making in a significant way. One of the most memorable aspects was the shocking and graphic climax. The effects team, led by the legendary Michael Westmore, had to push the boundaries of television gore to create this moment. Cronenberg was so proud. At the time, the episode's visual effects were highly ambitious for a TV budget. The practical effects for the parasites were created using animatronics and prosthetics. Rimmick's head explosion was achieved using a combination of practical effects, including a puppet head filled with gelatinous material to simulate the internal carnage. This sequence was so controversial that some affiliates chose to censor or alter the scene due to its violent nature. The production team was tasked with making these effects convincing while working under the constraints of an episodic television budget. However, their efforts paid off, as the sequence became one of the most talked about moments in the show's early run. The ambitious practical effects would later inspire similar, even more elaborate sequences in future episodes. Cliff Bole brought a suspense-driven style to the episode, emphasizing tension and paranoia. His direction leaned into the eerie, slow-building dread that pervades the story. Bole's direction also focuses on moments of stillness and silence, contrasting with the episode's explosive ending. The episode's pacing was designed to gradually increase the stakes. Early on, the narrative moves deliberately as Picard tries to gather evidence. The pace then quickens as Picard and Riker uncover the full scope of the conspiracy, culminating in a rapid and violent confrontation. Conspiracy was notable for pushing the boundaries of Star Trek's typically optimistic storytelling. The episode's tone and graphic content divided audiences. Some fans appreciated the darker, more suspenseful departure from the show's norm, while others felt that it was too jarring for the series' usual tone, leading to the Next Generation largely steering away from such plots in the future. But we'll always have DS9. In retrospect, Conspiracy is often cited as a fan-favorite episode. It remains one of the rare Next Generation episodes to explore the darker sides of the Trek universe, setting the precedent for future series to delve even deeper into themes of political corruption and internal conflict within Starfleet. Originally, Conspiracy was intended to have long-lasting ramifications. The episode ends on an ominous note, with Data revealing that a strange homing beacon was sent out by the parasites before their destruction. This was meant to set up a sequel in which the creatures would return. However, due to the episode's controversial reception and Roddenberry's reluctance to further explore the storyline, the sequel was never developed. Had this storyline continued, it could have taken the Next Generation in a radically different direction, one in which Picard and his crew were forced to contend with the return of a parasitic threat, possibly introducing a larger, ongoing galaxy-wide conflict, something like the Dominion War but in Season 2 of The Next Generation. Conspiracy remains one of the most unique and daring episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. Its dark tone, bold themes, and unforgettable visual effects make it a standout in the show's first season. While it may not align with the overall optimistic vision of the future that Roddenberry championed, it added a layer of complexity and moral ambiguity to the Star Trek universe, foreshadowing the more mature and nuanced storytelling that future series would explore. Man, this is taking forever.
Patience is the mark of a true predator.
Matthew Sedgwick, you are under arrest. The rest of you disperse and charges will not be filed.
You in what army? We are all here to help stop this chaos.
We are present as well.
Gotta hate that guy.